on our part of it, or what we did. It wasn't very, it's not super in depth, I guess. I don't really know. It's just we have an assignment sheet on a rubric, and then that's basically it. Or what we would do is a student-centered learning activity, which is basically ecology based.
Okay.
I think Laura has.
Yep, let me share my screen. I don't know what this is. Okay, yeah, this is it. So, go away. Final project, here it is. So basically we just wrote like what we would want our students to do. It's an outreach project, and we're both science majors, so we went with Black Hills topics, because there's something called the moonwalk at the Black Hills that Zach found, and basically it's like the Forest Service puts on, and I opened up the tab for that too, these different walks, basically where like an expert walks them around a part of the Black Hills and talks about something.
Oh,
so
cool.
for the one in our final project, is that on here? Yeah, it's like wildfires.
Yeah.
But I don't see it.
Healthy forest promotes healthy fires, basically. So what we were talking about for our side of it was that we wanted the students, obviously, to kind of pick what they were most interested in as far as Black Hills, something oriented in the Black Hills. So they could come up to the board, write down what they thought was interesting, and we take the top 3 things, because obviously we can't accommodate, everybody to do everyone's separate interests. But we narrowed it down to the top 3. And then basically the students would get broken up into about, just depending on how big the class size is, 7 or 8 students into each topic of the 3 topics. And so like, we don't really know what those would be, but we were thinking, maybe one would be forest fires in the Black Hills, and how it helps, ponderosa pine trees actually grow. It's not as harmful as it can be good.
Okay.
So basically, and then from there, we would have each student on here. Each group has to do a presentation, but we break them up even further into groups of 3 or 4. So we would have multiple presentations over the same topic, but we didn't necessarily think that would be a bad thing, because then you kind of get more information on the topic. And so everyone kind of gets to break into groups on a topic they think is the most interesting in the Black Hills. And then they each have to do a presentation. And after the presentation, so this one we were talking about the fire, everybody has to go out, or people who thought the fires were interesting would go out for that moonwalk. And then if one was, what was it, like botany or something? They would go like, next month to the moonwalk that was ethnobotany. And they would learn, what kind of plants in the Black Hills are useful, not useful.
Right here. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
And then, they would be required basically just to write a 1-page summary or whatever at the end of their basically field trip, and then that was it. So I don't really think I left anything out. Did I?
No, I mean, we just had a rubric about the presentation basically, and we would have them write how well their partners did on the presentation to make sure that everyone shared input equally, basically, so not one person just didn't do anything.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of just like an outline of a project we would do in a class.
So I'm totally unfamiliar. So what does it mean, like a moonwalk? Does it mean they're out at night, or is it just like a specific like topic? Like they go out on a hike and they learn about a particular topic at that point, or?
I don't really actually know where the name came from. Well,
it says they're held Saturday night close to the official full moon and begin around 7 p.m. Program is 1 to 2 hours. You walk around about a mile. So I guess it is out with the full moon at night, which would be kind of
that would be cool
with students, but it's I guess it's at night. That's probably why I call it that.
Oh no, that's cool. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Summer. I mean, the summertime, the sun's still out.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, so essentially, it's all basically student-centered. They get to pick what they want to learn, as and it's kind of interesting because it ties back into where they live. So.
Very cool.
What we came up with.
All right.
Got my share.
Okay, so my project is slightly science-based as well, but it's revolves around kind of like the design process and trial and error. And it would also learn a little bit about like balanced and unbalanced forces. So I'm going to hold this up if you guys can see this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a paper straw rocket. Just make this rocket. And here's the straw launcher. And basically, let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen here. Okay, so basically the lesson would be about, you'd start off with, put together this little PowerPoint, and they'd basically talk about the laws of motion, and I won't go through the entire PowerPoint with you, just real quickly. But the objective would be for them to construct and launch a low-power paper rocket and evaluate how that flew. And then that gets into the design process. So the class would be broken up into groups. I'm thinking of 3 or 4, and they would construct their own paper rocket. They'd learn about rest and motion, force, mass, the different laws from Newton. So Newton's first law, second law, and his third law. And then they would get into building this rocket. So then each one of them would get this mission report here. Can you guys see this all right? And
still stuck on like your file opening, like where your drive is. I don't actually see the document.
Let me see here. Can you see that?
No.
No?
No.
So did you guys see the PowerPoint at all, or no?
No.
Oh, God.
Maybe when you click share screen, at least mine had a bunch of options. Maybe you have to click specifically. I don't know.
Let me double check here what the hell I'm doing. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Never used this before either, so.
I can see it now.
Okay. All right. So maybe this will work now. So let me start again here. So basically the lesson would start off with this PowerPoint, and they talk about the laws of motion, and the objective would be for them to construct this low-powered paper rocket, evaluate the flight, and modify the design and prove it. And so the basic question that they would be trying to answer was, how does force, a balanced or unbalanced force, change the distance, direction, or motion of this object? There'd be some vocabulary involved with this, so rest and motion, force, mass, acceleration, action, etc. Go over the first few laws of Newton's laws, and then they would go into designing this rocket. So working with partners, students would collaborate, design, and build this paper rocket. And then when they build it, they would do different launch trials on it to figure out what worked on it, what didn't. So then if I can get the screen to share this, can you see this one?
I'm on the activity directions.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, how do I get them to share this next one? Great. All right, so let me close out of this. How did you go back and forth between those?
They were just tabs.
Just tabs? That's, yeah, I used to have file things. I thought it would open up that way as well, but obviously not. Let me see if I can try to share something else. Great. So where would that be? Can you see this one now? I keep opening it on my screen. It opens just fine for me, but can you guys see it's a Word document?
No.
No.
Sorry, you can probably just explain it to us. It seems like the mission report is kind of like
Yeah. It's basically the mission report would give them the template for their rocket. It would give them the design for their like fins that they could use. And then it would give them for each launch, they'd of course they'd have a launch center and they'd launch the rocket and they'd have to do some data on that. Like how far did it go? And once they figured out like how their flight went, then they could decide if they wanted to change the fins, the body length, or the nose cone. And basically that whole bit is on like unbalanced forces, because if it's the rocket itself isn't balanced, of course it's not going to fly very smoothly. It's not going to fly very far. So that in a nutshell would be that. They'd go over a handful of rockets. They'd put together data, which was on my mission report that I can't for some reason get you guys to see. And they'd at the end then come together as a group and as a class and then talk about what did they learn about unbalanced and balanced forces when it pertained to their rocket. So for me, it would be a student-centered project in the sense of that it's basically them doing an activity, them learning through doing it more than me standing up there and talking to them about it like a lecture-based. They'd actually be learning about these things by implementing it in actual tests of the rocket they've built themselves. So
trial and error, right?
Okay, so I guess I don't know. Just the end of this? Do I hit end recording? Do we have to have any more questions on it? I guess I don't know how this works out. So
I think the point of this was to share our final project ideas. So I think we did that.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, am I right or no?
I would agree with that. I just didn't know if we all went in depth enough. I don't know. I feel bad because I couldn't get this damn thing to work. So sorry.
That's all right. We haven't used this before either. I'm actually kind of curious as to like, is this thing switching like these main screens on its own, or are you guys doing that?
I haven't touched anything.
I think from what I've figured out is it switches for each one of us based on who's talking.
Okay.
So like whenever one of you's talking, I have your screen. At least that's how it is on my end. You know, I don't get it. I haven't clicked anything to switch. So it's kind of been an interesting way to do this, I guess.
Yeah. Well.
Guess it works.
All right.
All right. So we'll just put this in the Dropbox then, and I think that's it. Then we're done, right?
Yeah, I think then you guys got to put like whatever your document was. I think you got to put that in there too. But I can take care of this recording. I think.
All right.
If not, I'll mess around with it. Cool.
Sounds good.